Hello YouTube! Welcome to episode 11 in my Digital Aquarium Controller series. We're coming to the end of the hardware builds. Today we're going to discuss the lighting, including opto-isolation of the PWM dimming signal, and the Arduino code to control the light levels and timing. First, I should introduce you to my lights. I have a separate video on how to build a high-power LED fixture. The link's in the description. However, the drivers for this fixture run off of AC line current and can only be switched on or off. I use this type of light in the build for my planted aquarium. For the reef tank, I want more control. I want to be able to fade them on or off slowly, adjust the intensity, and control the white and blue separately. I built a prototype for this in episode 2. To enable this control, instead of the AC ballast and driver, I use these DC constant current drivers from Shure Electronics. They have a PWM dimming channel that can be controlled directly from the Arduino. Each drives 3 of the 3-watt LEDs. 12-volt DC power to the drivers comes from the PC power supply. My first fixture ever built was built with these and has had no issues in over 4 years. But they're a bit pricey, and for this fixture I used 17 of them. Alternatively, I located these drivers on eBay for about a third of the price. On the bench they seem a perfect substitute, but I haven't built them into a fixture yet. If you choose to use them, let me know what your experience is like in the comments. As always, I'll put a link in the description. These drivers, and the LED colors chosen, and the wiring changes needed for them are really the only difference between the one in my DIY video and this fixture. As you can see in the diagram, since each driver needs 12-volt DC, ground, and PWM, and each only drives 3 LEDs, and there's so many of them, there's a lot more wires. Since building these, I've made a bunch of mistakes. Call me Electro Boom Jr. Apparently, if you accidentally put 12 volts to the PWM line, there's a nice big bang and the magic smoke comes out. Then you have to replace a dozen drivers or so. Don't do this. And really, don't do it twice. But one lesson I could only learn this way is that apparently at least one of the failure modes can dump voltage onto your PWM line. This is a bit of a concern because the lights run on 12 volts and I don't want a lighting issue to fry my Arduino. Eventually these will fail. There are enough of them, one's bound to go sometime. To isolate the PWM signal, I use a pair of 4N35 opto-isolators. I wired these up on a strip board pretty much exactly as shown in this diagram. The 5V comes directly from the PC power supply, and the PWM signal activates the optocoupler when high. A 1K pull-down resistor pulls the signal back low when the isolated side is not active. This is a bit of a low value for a pull-down, but the PWM input is very sensitive to positive voltage. It'll go high if disconnected, but to fully turn it off, it's got to be pulled pretty close to ground. So I may have overcompensated, but it's stable. Here it is wired in place and mounted in my electronics box. I applied a coat of blue solder mask to make it pretty. Some people use this on their fingernails. The 2 PWM signals come from the controller hat on the left. The output goes to the pin headers on the outside of the box, where the light cables will connect. 5V DC and ground also come from the pin board, as I have power connected there for the fans and the top-off valves. Here it is in action. Apologies for the camera. The actinic blue never shows up very well. It's beautiful in person. And of course, the white balance tries to adjust to keep from getting washed out. This light is very bright. But you should get an idea. I'll share the PWM test script in the description. You could use the PWM example script in the Arduino editor just as well, but in order to control all of the various stages and implement them at set times, I've added a lot. Most of this is taken and dropped directly into my main controller routine. Speaking of which, let's take a look at how I have implemented this in the lighting code. I'll try to be brief. Everything starts in the time scheduler routine. Once per minute, I run light schedule to see if the lights need to turn off or on. Then, at a variable number of minutes, equal to the fade duration divided by 15, the number of fade steps I have defined, I run fade LEDs to adjust the brightness of the reef lights. In the fade LEDs routine, the lights are adjusted using level and phase variables for each color, blue and white. I use 4 phases. 0 indicates the light should be fading down, 1 is up, 2 is on full, and 3 is off. The code checks the phase mode and adjusts accordingly. So here, if blue phase mode is 1, it checks to see if they have been faded all the way up to full, when blue level equals 14. And if so, it changes the phase level to 2 to indicate they are full on. Otherwise, it increases the level by 1. Likewise, for phase 0, it does the same but down to 0. Fading the lights to phase 3 or off. This process is repeated for the white phase and level. To activate or deactivate the lights and fans, I check to see if either phase is set to anything other than off, or phase 3. If so, I check to see if the light relays have been activated yet. If not, turn them on. I turn off the moonlight when I turn on the reef lights. Otherwise, the phase is 3 and the lights should be off. I check to see if they are on, and if so, I turn them off, and then turn the moonlight on. In light schedule, I do the main work to determine when the light should come on or off. All computations are done in minutes, so first I set the minutes today variable to the current minute of the day. Then I check to see if any manual overrides are active, and do nothing if there is an override. For the reef lights, I set the time off value to a minute count by converting the hour and minute variables for time off to minutes, and then adding the fade duration to that. This gives me an absolute number in minutes that the light should be off completely by. From here we do some simple comparisons. If it's the exact hour and minute the lights should fade on, then we turn them on by setting phase to 1 and calling fade LEDs. If it's the exact hour and minute the lights should fade off, we set the phase to 0 and call fade LEDs to fade them off. For any other time, we check to see if they are in the state they should be. Perhaps the power was interrupted, or I made a change to the web interface. So if they're off, but it's between the start and end times, I turn them on, starting at 25% brightness. Or if it's past the off time and the fade duration, I turn them off. However, add a little bit extra more logic here. There are 1,440 minutes in the day, but it's possible I might someday want the lights to turn off at, say, 11 p.m. and have 2 hours of fade. So, if the off time plus the fade duration is more than 1440, I subtract 1440 to get a minute in the AM to compare to the current time. This works fine as long as the on time is before the off time in the same 24-hour day. The code for the white reef lights is identical, just using different variables. For the planted tank and sump, I use a slightly different tactic. For one, the sump will likely come on in the evening and then turn off in the morning. Also, neither of these has dimming, so there's no fade level. The function just turns on or off the relays directly. Otherwise, it's basically similar to the reef light. The main difference is I have an extra comparison. If the finish time is a smaller total minute count than the start time, so I'm starting in the evening and finishing in the morning, I duplicate the code but in the inverse, so that rather than checking if it's after the start and before the finish to turn on, in this case I check if it's before the finish or after the start. The final light code is used with the Nextion display, or web console, to manually set the light levels, and return them to the previous state when done. This functions past 3 Boolean variables. The first variable, start toggle, determines if this call changes the light state, or if it's resetting them back to the initial state. If this value is true, it is considered a light state change request. The current blue and white level and phase are saved in an array called light state save. Then, if blue on is true, it turns the blue LEDs on to full, otherwise it turns them off. Likewise for white on. Fade LEDs is called to set the PWM fade level. Then, if both blue and white are activated, it's a request for all lights, so the plant lights are turned on also. And if both are off, the plant lights are turned off. Finally, if start toggle is false, it sets the blue and white fade levels back to the values we saved into the array, and then it calls fade LEDs, and it calls light schedule to adjust the plant and sump lights to the proper state. That's all there is to it. Please share any suggestions or questions in the comments. Please click like and subscribe, it helps me out a great deal. And until next time, thank you for watching.